Cathay is way more than a defensive faction. Most of their armies are built around infantry lines. However, their biggest strength is the synergy between units, the exceptional buffs lords and heroes can provide, and some of the strongest legendary lords in the game. At the same time, Cathay also has several good options for aggressive gameplay. In this guide, I'll go over how Cathay wins battles, its biggest strengths and weaknesses, the best army comps for every stage of the campaign, and how each legendary lord changes the faction's playstyle. Cathay armies are mostly a balanced mix of frontline infantry and missile units supported by a variety of specialist units, and those support units are exactly what determines how you should approach each battle. With artillery support, you can rain destruction on the enemy from a safe distance. If you choose Tigers, you can perform devastating flanking attacks. Some gunpowder units can turn your army into a deadly close-quarter missile force, while monsters and war machines can greatly improve your melee capabilities. But that's not your only option. Cathay is also fully capable of fielding aggressive armies with stalking infantry, powerful melee monsters, and flying units. These armies can be built in two different ways. Monster Doomstocks require healing support from the Lore of Life. Cathay best monsters, the Terracotta Sentinels, are not very fast and have huge hitboxes, meaning they can take a lot of damage while advancing. However, once they reach melee combat, very few enemies can stand against them. The other option is to overwhelm the enemy with large waves of melee infantry. Tiger Warriors are your best choice and can deal excellent melee damage. Against strong range factions, they also have Stalk variant that allows them to advance undetected. They can safely get into position and destroy enemy missile units before they have a chance to fire. When used properly, there are very few problems Cathay armies cannot solve, as the faction has tools for almost every situation. Their units are durable, they have access to multiple anti-large options, and they have plenty of ways to deal with heavily armored enemies. Cathay has three key strengths. First, all three Dragon Lords are among the most powerful in the game. They can carry battles from the very start of the campaign all the way to full map completion and become true one-man Doomstocks. They all have two forms, a dragon form that allows them to fly, and human form where they become single-entity infantry characters. With regen, resistances, and enough word save, they become nearly immortal. Even if they somehow drop to low health, they can switch to dragon form, get out of combat, recover HP, and then go back in. They are also spellcasters, making them excellent at clearing blobs. The second key strength of Cathay is its infantry. From the very start of the campaign, you have access to cheap but effective infantry units. Peasant Spearmen are a great Tier 0 anti-large option, while Peasant Archers are excellent Tier 0 missile units. As soon as you build your basic Tier 1 barracks, you gain access to Jade Warriors, heavily armored and shielded frontline infantry. The same building also unlocks Jade Warrior crossbows, and at Tier 3, you get Jade Warriors with halberds, your next anti-large line-holding unit. These units are extremely cost-effective and will form the backbone of your armies. Because they are both cheap and widely available, you can field multiple armies even on legendary difficulty and expand aggressively throughout the campaign. Later on, you can unlock Celestial Dragon units, both of which remain effective even in late game. The third major strength of Cathay is the sheer number of buffs available to its units. The most obvious one is Harmony, which you gain simply by positioning your army correctly on the battlefield. On top of that, your units can receive numerous additional bonuses from technology, the Zhengu War Drum, and many other sources. But it's the lords and heroes that provide some of the strongest army buffs in the game. Alchemists are metal wizards who increase your army's campaign movement range, provide magical attacks, and give a few additional buffs. They are especially valuable against demons and other enemies with physical resistance. You should have one alchemist in every army. Astromancers are Lore of Heaven wizards, and they provide physical resistance to constructs and speed to flying monsters, both of which are excellent bonuses. Close Pickers are another hero you should attach to almost every army. They provide casualty replenishment, which is an excellent bonus especially for infantry, but more importantly, they are your only dedicated Lore of Life casters, making them essential for healing single entities. Every monster Doomstock should include a Lore of Life Close Picker. They also provide excellent buffs to Tiger Warriors. But the hero that truly pushes Cathay to the next level is the Gatemaster. These heroes are the backbone of Cathay armies. They reduce infantry upkeep, improve melee or range stats, provide restock, increase ammunition for all missile units, and most importantly, grant a Vol Veteran buff. This massively increases the range of nearby missile units by 40%, while also providing missile resistance to allies. Gate Masters are incredibly powerful, so if possible, you should use more than one in every infantry army. Heroes are only half of the story, as Cathay generic lords are equally important. Lord Magistrates reduce army upkeep, grant Vanguard deployment, provide an additional 20% ammunition, among many other support buffs. They are best suited to leading missile-focused armies. Tiger Lords greatly improve the combat potential of Tiger Warrior units, especially Ironclaws, while also being excellent anti-large fighters themselves. Celestial Generals are amazing anti-infantry fighters, with level 1 combat potential comparable to Kroxigor Lords. They also provide solid buffs to your melee units. Dragon-blooded Shugengan Lords are usually the strongest late-game generals. They reduce upkeep and provide physical resistance to Celestial Dragon units. They are also spellcasters, with access to 2 unique Katayan Lores of Magic. Lore of Yang is generally the better early game choice, thanks to its powerful anti-blob spells. Together, these lores and heroes transform your units into a formidable fighting force. You could argue that Cathay has some of the best generals and support characters in the entire game. Cathay also has a few weaknesses. Since they rely on compact formations for harmony buff, any area of effect damage is a major threat. Army abilities, which are now common across many factions, as well as artillery and spells, can all wreak havoc on your infantry. Summons are another major problem if you field artillery, as even clanrats can quickly wipe out your artillery crews. Flyers are also a threat, but you can usually shoot them down with missile units as they approach. Cathay cavalry is also on the weaker side. While their mobility issues are mostly solved with the introduction of flying units, Jade Lancers, Peasant Horsemen, and Great Longma Riders all underperform on higher campaign difficulty. There are ways to improve them, but it's usually better to invest resources into already excellent infantry. Cathay constructs also suffer from the same weakness as undead and demonic units. If they start losing an engagement, they will crumble. You can mitigate this with Lore of Life healing spells, but you will still need to pay close attention to their leadership. Any army that can quickly close the distance and break Kathay's formation is a threat. Slanesh's fast armies, with their fast chariots, can quickly cross the battlefield, break your infantry lines, and lock your back line in melee. If you do not deal with those fast units before the rest of their army arrives, you will get overwhelmed. Greenskins are another big problem to ranged armies that rely on holding defensive positions, as they can overwhelm you with sheer numbers and disruptive units like Snotling pump wagons and chariots. Their Mangler Squigs and Night Goblin Fanatics are some of the most dangerous units for the Kathay's tightly packed formations. If you focus on monster armies later in the campaign, your biggest threat will be heavy range factions like the Wood Elves or High Elves. While you can heal your constructs, they are also massive missile magnets due to their size. Armor-piercing missiles can bring them down fast. The same applies to Great Moon Birds and Celestial Lions. If you continue using infantry-based armies with Celestial Dragon units, you'll face the same problem as with Jade Warriors. Factions like Dwarves, Chaos Dwarves, Skaven, and even the Empire can field a wide variety of powerful armor-piercing artillery. Army abilities like Aislin's Asuru Fire, the Chaos Dwarf's Dredgequake Battery, and many others also pose a serious threat. Cathay mostly relies on two main army types, but it also has a few other fun options. The most common army is a mass infantry force supported by a handful of specialist units. Jade Warriors will be your best front line until the later stages of the campaign. You can also use Peasant Long Spearmen to protect your flanks against large units. Jade Warrior crossbows and Peasant Archers will form the bulk of your backline. As the campaign progresses, you can replace Jade Warriors with Celestial Dragon Guard. For the rest of the army, you should recruit support units based on the enemies you are fighting. Both Cathay artillery pieces are excellent choices and can provide tremendous value. The Zhangu War Drum can further improve your infantry lines, while the Celestial Lion works well as a budget siege attacker and a solid distraction. A couple of Nangao Grenadiers can wipe out large amounts of cheap infantry if you're fighting Skaven or Vampire Counts. One or two Crane Gunners can also greatly improve your missile armies by applying the Shield Breaker contact effect, allowing your crossbows to finish the job much faster. Tiger Warriors are excellent flanking units as they are reasonably fast and don't suffer from the same problems as cavalry. Tiger Warrior Stalkers are the most tactical option as they can sneak behind enemy lines and eliminate artillery or missile units. Even Jet Lions can provide some interesting tactical options. They grant nearby units magic resistance, remove magical attacks in the area, reduce enemy physical resistance, and can even silence key enemy targets. There are plenty of options available, so you should always choose the best support units for the enemy you are facing. The other army type that performs extremely well is the monster mash. With the introduction of close pickers, Cathay's monsters became way stronger since you can now heal them. Terracotta Sentinels can form a very powerful Doomstack, as can Great Moon Birds and even Celestial Lions. They are not the strongest Doomstacks in the game, but with Lore of Life support, they can deal with any late game AI army. Another option is a melee infantry rush built around tigers. This works best with Bhashiva, but it can be played with any Cathayan faction. Tiger Stalkers are your best choice if you prefer hit and run tactics, as they can get into position undetected before striking key targets. And finally, Cathay can field some very interesting spellcaster armies, as many of its units and heroes provide spell mastery. A Jade Lion stack, supported by a few Astromancers and Alchemists, can increase your spell effectiveness by up to 200% through mastery of the elemental winds. Cathay's Dragon Legendary Lords are some of the most powerful in the game. Zhao Ming reduces upkeep and improves melee units, so focusing on Jade Warriors supported by few missile units or the Zhang War Drum for Harmony is the way to go. This works especially well against his early enemies, Cathay Rebels and Skaven. He also buffs ogres, so if you get the chance, you can recruit a few ogre mercenaries. Miao Ying is the opposite. She greatly reduces the upkeep of missile units and increases their damage. As a result, her armies should include more crossbows and archers, supported by a smaller melee front line to maintain harmony. Yuan specializes in monster armies, as he greatly reduces the upkeep of Jade and Jet Lions, Great Moon Birds, and Celestial Lions, while also providing them with strong melee buffs. All three Dragon Lords specialize in different units. However, you're not locked into these army comps, as each of them can eventually become a powerful one-man Doomstack. Just get the one Karsten blade from your first caravan, stack some ward save, and they are ready to go. Bhashiva, on the other hand, is a strong assassin, but she is an amazing army commander. She provides a huge number of upgrades to her army, especially Tiger Warrior units. Her best army is the Ironclaw Doomstack. If you play Bhashiva's faction, you gain access to many new army comps through her Armies of Shangyang mechanic, which provides powerful upgrades to a variety of units. With unique ancillaries, she can further increase the range of Jade Warrior crossbows, give great cannons shrapnel ammunition, turn Cathay pliers into Lamassu that negate magical attacks, or increase their durability through physical resistance. She can even make cavalry viable. Great Longma Riders can get the Embrace the Pain ability, a weaker version of Empire Iron Resolve, preventing models from dying until the unit drops below 75% health. With healing, this effect can last even longer. Jade Lancers can also become respectable shock cavalry by gaining double mass, increased speed, and the Sunder armor contact effect. Still, the strongest option is Crane Gunners with the ancillaries which grant them stalk and snipe, effectively turning them into snipers. A full stack of upgraded Crane Gunners is one of the strongest armies in the game. Cathay also has access to two excellent legendary heroes. Tao Yan greatly improves Jade Warriors by increasing their melee attack and defense and the range of their crossbows, while also granting them physical resistance. Put her in a Jade Warrior army and she'll turn it into one of the strongest early game armies any faction can field. Sei Tang is a Terracotta Sentinel who greatly boosts crossbow units and Terracotta Sentinels. Use him in any missile-focused army for additional ammunition, missile damage and range, or place him in a Terracotta Sentinel Doomstack to reduce their upkeep and grant them +8 melee defense. Despite its rigid formations, Cathay is a very flexible faction in campaign battles. Replace one hero with another, swap a few support units, and you can completely change how the army performs on the battlefield. Still, all Cathay armies follow a few simple rules. Stay close, keep your buffs active, and deal damage. If you know how to counter the faction's biggest threats, Cathay will steamroll across the campaign map with cheap, numerous, and highly effective armies. Once you understand how Cathay's armies work together, very few factions can match their consistency in campaign battles. See ya.